It's operation under the PPP. Folks, welcome to our international podcast. Below the belt, who vex lose. This is our season 2, episode 1. We have done this is our 101. This is basically our 101 podcast, folks, since we started last year. 101 podcasts we have done thus far. Good to see you guys, and I got some company. The morning show done, but some people still they're wrong.
Lots,
Still they're
lots to
both.
talk about. I am here because there's lots to discuss. Hey guys,
Lots to
it's good to
discuss.
be here.
And I'm happy that Drita is here. Pace and power. We told you guys in 2022. Pace and power. And we got some of the regulars still about to from the breakfast show, from the morning program.
Is
Beatrice
Beatrice?
Selby is
Oh
here.
my gosh, I was just about to ask if Beatrice was
She Walker,
there.
she there. Marlon King is here. Claire Alexis Chomley Richmond is here as well. Alex Boom, Alex Boom is here too. Sandra Baptiste is here. Carl Hudson is here. I used to drink in my morning tea, so it's like the continuation of the program.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
There's been some bush tea, girl.
I'm thinking that
Some bush tea, Jarita, some bush tea.
it's self-imposed. It's a
Things tight,
result of the crisis.
I just tell you,
right?
it's suffering and inequality under the PPP. Folks, are you guys hearing Judah clearly? Are you guys hearing me clearly? Good to have all of you. Give us a little heads up if you guys can hear us clearly. But good to have all of you. Judah, how are you doing? Welcome to the podcast, Judah.
It is always a pleasure to be here to speak with the people to make sure that we bring them credible information. In the time since the morning program, I've been out and about getting some stuff done. So it's most definitely good to be back to make sure that I can share information with folks. A lot of interesting conversations I've been having with persons out there. People are not happy.
Yep. People are not happy indeed. And folks, if you're joining us here from Guyana, especially, let us know of some of the prices that have gone up, some of the commodities that you guys are paying more for. Maybe you want to tell us what the commodity is, what the price was, and what it is currently. And you're going to be helping us to do some research that informs the discussion at our end and some of the content at our end as well. So you can help us in that regard if you guys would just let us know. For instance, you might say the commodities Bora. Bora was $100 per head, and now it's $200. And we'll be grateful for that kind of information because it informs the discussion that indeed separation and equality operates under the PPP guides, and people are crying out everywhere you turn, Jarita. And you don't have to go far. You are a mother, right? You manage a home as a parent, and so you engage the market, you engage the supermarket, you engage the corner shop, and when you go.
The price of gas has gone up. The price of cooking oil has gone up. The price of flour has gone up. Every single price of basic necessities to actually feed children and to manage a home is skyrocketing at this moment.
Yep. The only thing going up is the wages and the salaries, Whether you're in the private sector or you're part of the public sector, that's the only thing, We saw, I think, the folks down at GPL got a 6% the other day. Public servants got a 7%.
It wasn't even across the board
Right?
at GPL.
Exactly. Public servants got a 7%, 3.5 across 2 budget cycles.
Yeah.
And, this is the result. Listen, folks, let's be honest with you. You got this global logistic chain supply issue happening where things were moving a little slow because of COVID-19. And then you got this war in Ukraine as well that's impacting some of it. But, the other side of it is just the incompetence, poor management, and bad leadership of the Jagabats and the trench crappos. And I don't know how else I can say that. It's the facts.
Well, I see someone here is commenting that cooking oil where they are is $400 per point. And this basically it sounds correct. I know everywhere
Wow.
persons are experiencing tremendous increase in the price of coconut oil. And we have so many local products that are produced right here that we are experiencing exorbitant increases in the prices. So, persons can come and say, well, it's a global supply chain. That has nothing to do with it. But I want to make the point, I was having a discussion with a guy even as I came over to the studio a few moments ago, and I was making the point that when you have a system that is corrupt, and when you have a system in which $10 billion that were allocated to go in aid to the flood relief of farmers that were affected, when that money did not go directly to those farmers and actually went to people that does not farm, this is a result of it altogether, so that there was no money for them to reinvest, because persons that never plant a blade of grass, as I say, would have gone and collect money on under
Hmm.
false pretense because of the political gimmick that was playing out with the distribution of that. So all of those things contribute significantly to the local inflation of the price of basic commodities that are produced right here.
Yep. And Druida here is Vanessa De Silva, who has a comment. And Vanessa says, I send my son in the shop to buy 10 pounds of sugar and 3 pounds of onion, 5 pounds of chicken and 1 pack milk, one small bleach and soap powder. He didn't get the chicken, but came home with 700 change from 6,000.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yep. And people are feeling the squeeze, right? These folks. Let me put back my chair a little bit so I can see Drita here in the studio. These folks are flying all over the world.
Read back the list when you're done.
They're jet setting, and people are hurting.
Yeah.
People are hurting. They are jet setting. They're going to Dubai, eating at the finest restaurants, staying at the most luxurious hotels, and the people at home are hurting. So hear what Vanessa says. She sent to buy 10 pounds of sugar. How much was a pound of sugar? A pound of sugar used to be about $60,
Everything has
right?
skyrocketed. Gone are those
Right?
days.
3 pounds of onion. Onion probably used to carry the same price. 5 pounds of chicken. 1 pack of sorry, 1 pack milk and one small bleach, one small soap powder. He didn't get the chicken, but came home with 700 change. I think that's $5,300.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
like that.
Wow.
Just like that.
But when you look at the minimum wage that persons
Right?
have to survive off
And
of those
that's where I
prices.
was going.
Yep.
This sounds like a little top up on your monthly grocery,
Yes,
right? You're
exactly.
doing there. Now, if you're earning $70,000 a month, you just spend
Mm-hmm.
you just spend five.
Mm-hmm. It's just a little over $2,000 per day. That is the breakdown that you're looking at there. That person that's 2 days plus
People are hurting.
worth of work for
Julia,
minimum wage.
I was listening to a woman. I'm happy with what you said there. I was listening to a woman just this morning, and she was talking about. She said, every time you go, Carol, price raising,
Yeah.
right? She says she has to make a decision now. She's going back to Coles. But even Coles, you might find the price for Coles raised because Coles got to do something to get Coles. Coles will not drop out this guy,
Mm.
right? And if the Coles man say, well, my factors of production as we knew it when you were reading your MBA and so on,
You gotta burn the coal pit.
you got to burn the coal pit with something.
Yep.
Might be a little diesel, you know. So the calls might go up too. And then she said, with the price of coconut oil, she said she has to contemplate now going back to coconut oil. But then coconut oil too, if plantain gone up,
Well, there you have it.
right? The
There you have
coconuts
it.
might go up too.
And that is something that you need to look at also when it comes to cooking oil, because cooking oil is being produced right here in Guyana, bottled off nicely, put on our shelves. Coconut oil for you to
You know,
cook
I
with.
feel like doing. You get a little cabin, and I just go in the middle of like Linden Suicide Highway and just live off the land. You plant a little thing and you just live off the land. You forget all this stuff. Because, like, what's the point?
If it was that simple.
If it was that simple, live off the land. It's rough here. It is rough. And when you talk when people want, you're going back to Copa because of choice. We buy cook up, in the city here. And one of the things we love about the cook up where we buy it, I ain't giving them no free ads. They gotta come and things tight, people. But this coconut has a little glaze in it. You can tell it's been cooked over,
A
maybe finished off
fireside.
over fire. So it has a little,
Okay.
that little smoky glaze. All right. But people must wonder by choice.
Yeah.
Not because you're being forced in 2022 to go, didn't that? The people carry back to cold pot. Honest to
Well,
God.
at this rate, we may have to burn the coal pit yourself
You gotta
because
burn the coal pit and make
because
your own coals.
I think at some point in time
Right?
we were having this discussion in my family group. We have a family WhatsApp group, and we were discussing
Family
the
so bushy. Family
no,
group. Hmm.
we have a family group, and we were discussing
Happy for you.
the cost of the cost of gas, the cooking gas cost going up. So my
Hmm.
brother was bringing it to my attention that don't believe coal's cheap, right?
Coals, Mr. Coals
He
now?
said coals is $4,000 a
My
bag.
Lord, 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 Lord.
So
You were reading an interesting comment on one of those social media sites this morning. One woman was saying, she has to do all kinds of unscrupulous things to make it.
well, that was on the actually. I
Unscrupulous
give the
things.
that was under a post that Gordon Mosley
Oh,
made,
yes,
and he
yes,
was asking
yes.
about the price of items. Like, but I can't remember the direct
It is the topic
question.
of the day. Everybody discussing
Mm-hmm.
the cost of living. Everybody discussing the cost of living. Folks, wherever you're joining us from internationally, you're now joining our podcast. Welcome to our podcast. Below the belt, who vex lose, and give us a share, folks. Smash that emoji button as well. We want other folks to get valid and credible information.
Yeah, it actually the question that he was asking was what impact has the rising cost of living been having on you and your household? And quite a few interesting comments altogether. Very, very interesting comments because you can actually hear the pain and the struggle in the comments altogether because people are just laying it bare in the comment section, like literally.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I mean
Yep,
some of the things I
yep,
can't
yep.
even read out loud.
Mm-hmm. People are hurting. That's the point we're making. People are hurting in this country, and there is no politicking it away. There is no PRing it away. There is no what you call it. It's just what it is. It's
Hmm.
just what it is, and people could love you, but they can say, you know what, my belly comes first, and my family's food security comes first, and that is why we saw the rice farmers recently. I learned recently as well. We're pointing out all of the places people have not been paid for months. The
Yeah.
Gaelic People's Militia, one of those organizations, and somebody pointed out to us the folks at the West Demerara Regional Hospital. Some of the nurses
Hmm.
there haven't been paid for quite a few months as well. We were following what's happening at the Linden Enterprise Network, LEN. Lots of the staff haven't been paid for months, and just some of them walked off the job
After
recently.
all the announcements about what will be done specifically there, I mean, I
Yes.
know the PP administration went out and all articles big and loud in the newspapers. That's all their plans for that area, but now they're silent when persons are leaving because they're not paying those persons.
Loud and proud.
Yep.
Loud and proud. Something's got to give, folks. Something has got to give. And, we're so happy that so many of you are here with us. We got, again, Dorrit David and Pamela Sanchari, Glensis, Mingo Byrne and Vanessa Lee Silva, Margaret Morris, Carlton Bevney, Kurt Heidekin and Sherry Baskin, Greenwich, among the hundreds of other folks who've joined us, like Don Sullivan and all you other beautiful, lovely people. We're so grateful, Vanessa De Silva, for folks like you who have joined us. But, again, people are hurting. And so, we have Jorita as an economist here. We're going to pick her brain as to what you might, right off the bat, what you might recommend. And not only as an economist, as I said
Hmm.
before, as a mother, as a home manager, what you might recommend. One of the things, now is not wants, is needs.
Well, when it comes to the family level, it's a difference when it comes to the family as against government. And one of the things that we have been saying at the level of government is that, especially when it comes to the increase in prices, a constant, steady increase in prices, that inflation altogether, I support the calls for certain subsidy to be given. I know when the Milk spoke of the fact that they will have to be increasing the prices over there. One of the things that I spoke about and supported was that the government should subsidize that agency altogether, but yet we are yet to hear any of that. I know one of the more modern policies being utilized when it comes to managing the increase in fuel prices is for governments to actually store fuel. And a lot of countries have been aiming to store at least the amounts necessary for 1 month's utilization for the country ahead of any unexpected increase in those prices. I believe countries like China is even storing up to 3 months worth of supply and so forth. But these are things that we are yet to hear discussions for the level of government, because they seem to be least interested in actually curbing these effects and actually cutting it off altogether so that the poor people of this country do not suffer at the hands of these exorbitant increases.
Yep. One wishes that more could have been done, but you know what? It is what it is, and we gotta do what we gotta do, people. We gotta do what we gotta. You know what's interesting as you're talking there, and our listeners are in tune around the world. We saw it published on Irfan Ali's Facebook page just today a graphic which suggests this is the government speaking to you, right? Your government, and the graphic that was put out there says, and I want to read the text very clear. It says, "Wheat and bread crisis coming."
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Wheat and bread crisis. Now, even if you know this, what you should be doing now is not only alerting people, but what are the policy prescriptions?
Well, I was literally just speaking about the fact that when the Milko spoke about the increase in the price of flour coming, that one of the first policy measures that they should have been taking is to subsidize the Milko so that the consumers, the ordinary Guyanese, are not feeling the squeeze on that level. This is not something that you expect to pen out in law. I think it was none other than the Attorney General that was making comments on that I believe he was basically saying that they're not interested in actually putting policies to curb these issues, but they were need to leave the market to self-regulate. Well, that's an uncaring government. Any government representative that speaks like that speaks to
I'm
an
happy
uncaring government.
you've gone there because I was coming there. You can leave the market to self-regulate,
Yeah.
and you call yourself care. What madness is this?
Yep. Yep. I think he was speaking out of his area because
Stick to law. Left the left economy left
economics.
economics econometrics to Jurida and the other folks, right? Not even to Ashley, right? Leave it to the people who know about economics, who qualified in this field. So again, we're picking up on the Irfan Ali's Facebook page. This whole warning, right, of this impending crisis,
Hmm.
wheat and bread crisis is coming. Well, wheat and bread is two things. So that is plural, wheat and bread,
Hmm.
right? And so the verb should not be is,
Let's not even go there.
right?
You have a
Right.
lot of
But
high
the
expectations.
but I guess they're putting the it's two crises, right? But they're putting the subject as crisis, and perhaps as a what you call a compound subject. So maybe that is where you get the is from.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe it's that
But
wheat and
I think
bread.
they were. I don't know who's managing the PR
It's
department
a lot
altogether,
of crisis.
because it's very strange that a heading a
Yeah.
quotation like that will be seen
So
on
I don't know
Irfan
if they're
Ali's
saying to
page.
hold flour, right? Or maybe I don't think you want to hold bread unless you got a huge fridge to blast freeze that,
Mm.
right? I think you want to hold bread. So maybe the admonition there is to hold flour, and that you could be triggering a lot of things here
And
because because a
did they
lot of
not
shops could
say?
be holding their
Mm.
what do you call that, Rita? Their flour right
Or
now,
the stock?
their
Yeah.
stock until the price go up.
Yep, yep. Persons do that. When you talk about the private sector altogether, that's how it operates. When there's a shortage, price is gonna go up,
I
right?
mean, this is leadership.
Well,
My
again, I
lord,
just
my
want to
lord, my
repeat
lord.
the fact that it was the Alliance to Change that called for the subsidization of of the milko, for the government to subsidize the milko in this period so that persons do not bear the hefty cost. And I believe that the article spoke to the fact that even while there is the increase of the price of oil and the government is getting a net benefit altogether, it's just a fraction of that money that that will be used to subsidize the cost at the milk to cushion the effect from flour, increasing the price of flour. But absolutely no announcement from the government. They seem not to be interested. If we're to take anything from what Anil Nanlal said, is that they are not interested in going down that road to subsidize those costs so that persons won't be able to feel the squeeze. So they're not subsidizing the cost, and also they are not planning on increasing persons' wages and salaries, so they will be able to better cope with those increases. So basically, what we are seeing and what it should say is that brace yourself for reduced standard of living, brace yourself for the reduced amount of meal that you'll have to feed
Yep.
your children. Because if there's increases in food items and your salary is not increasing, it simply means that instead of 3 meals a day, you're going to go down to two, and who was already down to two would be going down to 1 meal per day. I mean, let us be very direct with what is going on. That is the practicality of that statement altogether that you were taking off of his page.
Yep. I mean, this is the government alerting the citizens. I
Mm.
mean, if this is right, right, when the Kieran government would a human face want to come in front of this and says, we are alerting you what is going to happen, brace
Yeah.
for impact, right? These are the measures we're going to be putting in place, but you still might feel a little pinch from it. We're going to advise the private sector to pass on these benefits to the consumer. These are the relief measures we're putting in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? No. Just a graphic shoot across Irfan's Facebook page. Wheat and bread crisis coming.
Mm. Well, that's a level of leadership that we are dealing with right now. That's as frank as we could be.
Frightening. And then you have the Attorney General on the other hand now saying that
Let
we
the
ain't stepping
market,
in.
yeah.
Right? Survival of the fittest. That is the
Hmm.
name of the game. The market forces. Let regulate itself.
But when the market forces regulate itself, basically, the consumers, when they are finished benefiting, the,
But that is
the
as
balance actually
that is
comes
like
in.
saying, okay, you get COVID, let your body produce its own anti what do you call it? Antigens or whatever you call it to fight the virus, to fight the bacteria. Let your body produce it, right? We ain't carrying to no hospital. The body should be able to do it. That is,
I think I actually had to come to Irfan Ali's page to see this for myself.
you saw it.
I
Are
just
we lying
did.
to you?
Wheat and bread crisis is coming, literally taken off of the page of none other than Irfan Ali.
Valid and credible
Oh
information.
my
Wheat and
goodness.
bread crisis coming.
It's sure this is not sabotage coming from internally. Somebody actually, did he vet this before it was put out? Seriously? How does this happen? How does the person that should be coming out and saying because of the increase in the price of wheat and the expected further increase in the price of wheat and bread, the government will be stepping in and they will be doing X, Y, Z to cushion the effects so that you do not suffer? Where is that announcement? I am yet to see that as I scroll down the page. We can talk about the excuses and all of that, but if policy measures are not put in place to make sure that persons do not suffer more than they're already suffering, then you might as well not say anything at all. It's very, very sad.
Yep. A lot of pain here in this country. A lot of pain. And you're a husband, you're a mother, and you're waking up and you're telling the kids, you know what? We got to ban we belly a little bit. We're now going to be able to do some of the things that we were doing. Guys, this is the direction in which we're heading, right?
Yeah.
And now you got to contend with this now. They said, oh, the two tennis roll you are eating per day now,
Mm.
it's going down to one,
I think it's going to be out
right?
altogether. I don't see
Bread
people be
and
able to
wheat
afford any of
crisis
that.
coming. That's what they're telling us. And they're so callous. Everybody off jet setting, right? The president is going to Irfan Catfish. He's going to Dubai, right? You
Mm.
think he got the kind of character to say, you know what? My folks home are suffering. Me and splurging here, right? He gonna eat the biggest chicken, right? The biggest loaf of bread. And your people home suffering. And you're gonna be flying in helicopters and on yachts and so on, right? Shopping at Van Arpels and them fancy places in the States and people home suffering. You're wicked, man.
I'm looking at the page, and I think it's just two posts that came out together, two posts of basic excuses, and there's absolutely no recommended
Rita,
solutions.
just hold 1 second. Diana Badin is correcting me and saying it's not antigens but antibodies. That's the correct thing. Thank you. I was so my thoughts were racing so much. I just want to get it right. You know, you're saying basically let the antibodies fight for you. Don't go to no hospital, right?
Yes.
Because the hospital is the policy prescription. Don't go and see no doctor for he tell you what really is the problem,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? That's what we got happening here. You know, when you say, "Oh, let the market regulate itself," well, let your body regulate itself from the little COVID man. It can make you stronger at the
It's
end.
so
It's
crazy.
great. It's madness. Not only crazy, it is madness, right? And just
Mm-mm-mm.
Young Henry says, pain and suffering they're causing people. God will deal with them, right? God will deal with them. We got to do better than this. This is not leadership, right? This is stumbling from crisis to crisis. That is what it looks like. Stumbling from crisis to crisis. Why do you got all that happening? We said this morning on FYI, we had a flood recently. They
Yep.
have learned nothing from that. Kwakwani
They did learn. They learned
waterfront,
to. They
the
learned to
thief,
steal money.
the thief mo. Kwakwani waterfront, I'm being advised, is underwater right now. And this is not the river, mind you, the
Mm.
waterfront. This is the land,
The people's
the
homes.
people's home
Mm-hmm.
underwater. And I'm advised too, they're parts of, let me show you a picture, Drida. It's gonna touch you. Part of the Pomeroon,
Yeah.
right, is underwater. This is the Kokwani waterfront you're seeing here, inundated with the water. What river runs through
A
there?
government team has been dispersed
Right?
to the area.
Government team flying all over the country. Who can disperse there?
No, are they
Who can
not
disperse there?
dispersed to
Bring on the list. Let
Kokwani?
me change this with there. This
Yep.
here is this is the Pomeroon,
Yeah.
right? We're seeing a canoe in front of somebody's home,
Yep.
right, on water, and the woman is waist deep in water. This is the Pomeroon, and they say the water's been in the land for 2 weeks now,
Yes.
right? 2 weeks now. Ali going to on his way to Dubai right now. You got Mustafa and Robert Prasad. They're in Trinidad. You got one of them went to London. What's the fella's name? Alistair Charlie. Everybody flying in London.
Oh, Sir
You
Charlie. He
yes.
does work.
He in London though, on government business in London. You got Anil is in Bali, Indonesia. You got Mansur Nadir in Bali, Indonesia. You got Sonia Parag in Bali, Indonesia. Who got time with the folks in Pomeroon, right? Papa Jagabat now trying to assemble a team to hustle up there. You see, they watch the program to see what's happening where, and then they move ahead. And then you got Ashley Singh, the finance minister, in a crisis. Where Ashley Singh there? Ashley Singh in Pakistan. Well, he should
Wow.
he should stay.
Wow.
Almost
Wow.
said what they want to say. He should
Mm.
stay in Pakistan. Everybody jet setting.
Mm-mm-mm.
Everybody jet setting. And that's who we know about. We can't seem to locate Utah. He gone MIA. We think he was the
Well,
president.
present or not,
He always
it doesn't make a
MIA.
difference.
But the rest of them there, right?
Present or not, he does not make a
You
difference.
got a country of hurting people. Where they there? What
Mm.
are you paying the salary for jump on the airplane and fly about the place? Where they there? We can't find you, Todd. MIA, missing in action. You gone AWOL, absent without leave. Everybody jet setting, right? Every 2 days, then Dubai. You think Dubai next door?
Hmm.
Every 2 days, then do. That is the place of choice.
When people can't afford to provide meals for their children.
Huh? You remember we were talking in the earlies about toilet paper going up,
Yes.
this going up, that going up.
Soap,
Nothing
everything.
ain't gone down yet.
Every
Soap
single
gone up. You
thing.
can't wash or wipe your tail. Everything gone up, right? Everything gone up, and then boys jet setting. Take a time with we, right? Problems increasing here, then boys fly out till things cool down.
Well, I think it was our co-host for the FII program, a man that always says it, that when things get difficult, they will get on their private planes and so on. They will be out of here. That's how they're going to treat with it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going
Mm-hmm.
to stay here and suffer with the people. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to keep very conscious.
Oh, they're not a Zelensky by any means.
Yeah.
They ain't got a kind of fiber to stay and fight. They fly out
Yeah, that's how it
to
that's how
fancy
it works with
hotels
them.
and big opulent capitals of the world. Everybody out, right? Everybody out. You, as they said, wheat and flour crisis coming. Now we said they said wheat
Mm-mm-mm.
and flour crisis coming. Brace yourself. But everybody out. Them boys gone where they can eat bread whole day and they ain't got to worry and they ain't got to feel bad.
Well, even when they're here, they don't seem to worry or feel bad. They just carry on as though these things are not happening. They drive past the children begging at the street lights on the road corners. They drive past them. They don't stop to check on them to see what is the cause for them being there. They just carry on their business as though these things are not happening around them. That's not their interest.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. What a thing. What a thing. And it's frightening, you know. It is quite frightening what is happening in this country. And guys, we're going to be following, acutely, and I don't know that's the right word. My thoughts are racing. We're going to be following closely. We're going to be following and getting you guys the credible information. And whatever deals are out there, we're going to be telling people. If you all know places still selling food stuff reasonable, let people know. We share the information.
Yeah.
Right? Now is not time to make a killing off of people, which is the other side of the discussion. You
Well,
know?
most definitely, because as you would remember, when COVID just started back in 2020, one of the things that persons experience is that the stores, the pharmacies actually triple the prices of sanitizers and masks and things like that, because even though they did not pay exorbitant prices to acquire those stock, they made sure that they were benefiting tremendously from that. And also, there were a lot of persons that went out there that did not want to run short on it, and they stockpile large numbers in just one home, so it was not distributed to everyone that needed it. There wasn't enough in stock for those persons. So there's so many things that we need to consider when we're seeing a headline like that on Air Finale's page. Crisis, the word crisis being used by Air Finale. It's quite crazy that I'm seeing this on his page. Again, I
Yeah.
must say that he's not offering any solutions. He's not saying this is the way in which they plan on tackling it. But there you have this big announcement: wheat and bread crisis is coming. It is most ridiculous. Persons, Guyanese deserve better.
I am very happy that you went back and checked it, and so you're able to tell the people that we ain't pulling a fast one on them. As a matter of fact, the Kaiser News yesterday had a scathing editorial on this whole issue of what's happening locally, economically. This was yesterday, March 21st, 21, 2022. And the header of that editorial, folks who are listening to us, was the government has no answers to local inflation. And Drita, I know lastly this is going to register to you in a more acute way. Here's a good use of the word now than the ordinary person. So here's what the editorial read, folks who are joining us. And as you join the podcast, those of you who are now coming on board, feel free to share the broadcast that others get valid and credible information, and smash that emoji button. Folks, I'm watching the emojis and we got a low count today. I know if some of y'all had lunch yet, y'all weak, you can't afford lunch or what
Mhm.
have you guys, but we hope at least one of your hand can reach that emoji button and smash it for us. It'll mean the world. And give us a share as well. That part of that editorial, how it read yesterday. It says here, rice farmers are complaining about a decline in the price which they are receiving from millers, and at the same time are having to pay more for fertilizers. The government has waived some payments by the millers, which had led to a pitiful increase of 200 Ghana dollars in one area, of which the millers are offering farmers. The government strategy clearly is not working. This is
Mhm.
this is peeping Tom. The government strategy clearly is not working. The country's financial gurus do not have the answers to rising inflation? Is that we?
That
It's
is
not Rita, it's
correct.
not Sharon. The country's gurus do not have the answers to rising inflation. They are lost and clueless. Local inflation is not all important. There have been an unconscionable increase in local food prices by farmers. The prices of vegetables and fruits ought not to have been the subject of high increases which are being experienced by consumers. These are not imported items, but everyone is cashing in on the crisis. Everyone other than fixed wage earners.
Yep, that's
Perhaps this
correct.
notice, Madam Economist, due to finance, perhaps this notice on Irfan's Facebook page is a wink,
Oh, wow. You
is a
think so?
wink to the people who got the flour
Hmm.
and who got the bread,
Well, one can,
right?
and
To
that
cash in
and that would
on what's
actually,
coming.
you couldn't be more correct because to announce something like that again, I'm going to say without a policy measure that is going to say this is how we are tackling it from the end of government is most ridiculous because when you use a word, a strong word like crisis, it immediately is going to put person in a frame of mind that to secure all that they have, right? And if they are going to sell off what they have, they're going to be selling it off at the most exorbitant prices. And then what? And then we have the agents going to come and say, "Oh, the market will self-regulate." This is the level of nonsense that we're dealing with right now.
Yep,
You
yep,
know,
yep,
I
yep, yep.
saw
Go ahead,
I
Judah.
saw I saw like I said, it was one post after the next. And the post that I'm seeing on his page before is saying all over the world trying to justify that all over the world the cost of living is rising. And one of the countries that there's well the first country that they're citing is Britain cost of living crisis, right? Is pushing millions to the brink. They're pulling out that article. But I am very keen on research altogether. So obviously, I'm going to go and check and see what they are doing in response to that and the
Well, I would
level.
only, I would only say, then pay me what the British are being paid, and I can
Well,
endure the high cost of
well,
living.
not only that. If you were to go to the House of Commons library, they're looking there and they say on February 3rd, the Chancellor announced government support in relation to rising energy prices, including a £200 energy bill rebate loan, £150 council tax rebate, and an expansion of the warm home discount scheme. So when you were going to speak about the rising costs, he needs to also speak about the measures that they're putting in place so that their people don't further suffer. Right, so you can't be looking at it halfway, and we can go
Half
back.
measures.
It
Yeah.
is most ridiculous that you're trying to bring excuses that it's not only Guyana that there is an increase, but what we're saying is that although they are, when it comes to the energy and fuel prices going up, although that there is a situation that everyone is speaking about, the war between Russia and Ukraine, countries are putting policies in place to deal with what is going on. And we are not. We are yet to see the PPP come up and say, this is how we're going to be dealing with it so you do not suffer further on it. And that is what we're talking about. So the same way energy is put into pulling up the fact that there is rising costs, the same energy should be put towards saying, well, and these are the measures that they are putting in place to deal with these increasing prices, because they're not just sitting down and say, well, that is what is going on, y'all just deal with it. They're not saying the economy is going to self-regulate. They're saying that this is how we are going to cushion this effect and get you, the people, through this process and through this period without further harm to yourself and further reducing your standard of living. But this is where we are in Guyana.
Excuse me there, folks. Yep, 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 yep. That is precisely where we are. But I am just taken aback by what this column out of Kaiser News said, that these guys are locked and clueless, and the government strategy is not working. The financial gurus do not have the answers to rising inflation. They are lost. I don't want to pretend I didn't read that, but that's what it says, that they are lost, folks. And again, we got to do more. We got to do more. We got to do more on this issue. We got to do more. It can't just be this and wheat and bread crisis coming, and that's it, right? Well, if you can do the work, what it entails, right, to bring things under some semblance of order, pack your bags and go,
Yeah, get out the pen, write your resignation, just leave.
right? And the whole pack of them should go irregardless because they were done doing nonsense even before this. It's like we're learning nothing. Every crisis is like a fresh crisis they're engaging.
Hmm.
It's like a fresh crisis. There should be in every community. In every community, they said, right, as part of the budget measures, and I'm talking to the economists here, they had a 10 billion to tell you that they have a plan set aside to what they said to ease the cost of living. And they were going to go in the communities.
Well, the 10 billion was specifically to aid with flood relief. If that is the 10 billion you're referring to,
No,
which one
they
you're
said
referring
they
to?
said they were doing a 10 billion. I am almost certain they
Hmm.
were doing a $10 billion. Let me find it because I want to make sure the economists. Um,
Well, this is what we were talking about. And the 10 billion that they spoke about prior, that I was just referring to, was specifically for the flood relief to those farmers, and that came through a supplementary. But again, they keep pushing these figures and money through the parliament, and they keep reducing the time that the government, the opposition is actually given to scrutinize these spendings, because basically they have no answers for the questions that are asked. By the members of the opposition. So, and when we are given the opportunity to ask the questions, they have no answers, and they basically say, "Well, that this hasn't been planned out as yet. This haven't been
the
designed
first
as
thing
yet."
they want to do, they want to tell you what kinds of questions you should ask.
Well, that's an issue all by
They
itself.
want they want to frame the questions for you,
Yeah.
right? And then they want to answer it.
Yeah, it's most ridiculous, but they have been saying for quite some time that they're going to be working towards this and working towards that. But I often say that they always come out and say these things, and they say the right things. They perfected the art of saying the right things and going out and doing something completely opposite. They go out there and they completely forget everything that was said. That's how that happens.
Yep. The guys don't know what they're doing, and I'm trying to find my notes here because I know I wasn't. And they highlighted how they're going to spend it. They highlighted how they were going to spend this money that they hoping was aiming at reducing, and high cost of living was identified. That's what they were aiming at reducing. And I don't know what all of this has gone to billions of millions upon billions of dollars, right?
Mm-mm-mm.
Doing what? Doing what? And people are suffering this much? Or are we
Um,
fooling ourselves that we understand economics?
Anybody that goes that's on the ground actually speaking to people moving around in communities would see that how much persons are suffering. I read some of the comments that are online, and one woman was basically saying that the amount of money she has to spend now for transportation to go to work and get back home, coming to Georgetown from on the west coast, the amount of money that she has to spend there, it's so ridiculous that she may have to work half of the month. She wouldn't be able to afford to work the full month. This is what where people
That's
are.
hurtful. That's hurtful. Right? That is hurtful to hear people um, think that they have to resort to those kind of things. That's painful to hear that.
Yep. That
Right?
that that's a situation that is on the ground right now. No one is talking about the poor people that are struggling, and that's why we have to continue to be their voice. Make sure that persons understand what is
We ain't
going on
getting
out
we
there.
ain't getting better there. We getting worse. We ain't getting better.
Mm.
Right?
It's a sad,
And
sad state.
yeah, I'm really looking for it because I want our very own Dorito Finance to be our resident economist. See how we're privileged here, guys. You see how you guys are privileged. You got a whole economist right at your disposal here to pose your questions, and I hope Dorito can even feel some of the comments that we have on social media at the moment.
Mm.
Feel some of those comments, and let us know what folks are saying out there because things tough. Things are tough.
Let me go through and make sure that I am following you guys so closely right now. It's most disturbing. I know Charlotte is looking for that bit of information there. It is most disturbing that the government is yet to announce policy measures when the biggest budget ever was passed in the National Assembly, the first budget to utilize the oil revenues, and yet there is absolutely no announcement coming forward as to how they are going to curb these issues. They keep saying that money is going to be put aside for this and money is going to be put aside for that, but here we are about pretty close to April, and we are yet to hear of the policy measures to utilize those monies that have been budgeted in the National Assembly to actually better the lives of the ordinary Guyanese citizen.
Yeah, and here it is. How they said they were going to ease it, and Tracy, you are right. It wasn't 10, it was 5.
Yeah, because I could not remember a
Right? It
10
was
billion.
5.
I could
Here,
not
here they
remember
said
that.
here 5 billion allocated
Uh-huh.
for cost of living interventions. And you see the text here says at the top, the broad headline is easing the cost of living. 5 billion allocated to cost of living intervention to help ease the impact of the most vulnerable communities.
Oh, yes.
And here's how they were going to do it. Further consultations are to be held with communities most affected, both on the coast and in the hinterland.
This is the slush fund. That's
Right.
a slush. I think if I remember clearly and correctly, I believe that was my words when I read that in the National Assembly. That's how I refer to that. That is a slush fund, because that's basically saying that you are putting $5 billion aside, and you were saying that, oh, we have no mechanism. This money is assigned for us to go and self-determine where we should go spend it, how we should go spend it, and doing what, how, where, when. And that is the money that you're referring to there. But I know that I couldn't remember another $10 billion, but definitely I know of that $5 billion because I did refer to it in the National Assembly as a slush fund. I saw no indication of it being anything else, and I'm yet to be given any answers. I'm yet to hear any responses and any directives being put in place that says it isn't a slush fund. So I'm going to hold on to my initial thinking that is a slush fund.
Teresa, if now the cost of living is escalating, it's getting higher and higher. It ain't getting high. It is high, but it's getting higher. And these were in some of the interventions they said that they were making, and this is not in this new dispensation of the rising cost of living. It is before. It's telling us that none of the interventions that they really had were working.
Well, I don't think they aim for it to work how we want it to work.
And this was to
It doesn't
tackle.
mean that it's not working.
This
It's
was-
working for them, right?
This was to tackle some of the effects that was coming out of that mid-year report last
Correct,
year. That
yes.
14% in
Yes.
what is the term I'm missing there? 14%
Basic food items.
basic food items, and the 5.4, I think, inflation rate
Overall.
at that point overall.
Yeah.
It is far more than that now. And these were some of the things they were doing to nip that in the bud. Well,
Correct. Here we are.
here we are. How it's looking
You
for me.
know, how is it looking? But again, Shara, that specific question you asked there about that $5 billion, that's a slush fund.
Slushy.
That's a slush fund. You let them prove otherwise. I dare say that I asked them to prove otherwise.
Well, you are the expert, so I take your word for it. Judah is the expert. Guys, you all see what's happening out there? You all see what happening? Look, I see Takur doing the rain says, the government is doing a great job. Ha ha! Takur. Takur. Somebody answer Takur for me. Takur Deodorant says the government is doing a great job. Right? Is doing a great job. Right? Name one thing, he says, that the Apnu AFC ever give or do for Guyanese people.
Double the salary.
Oh,
that we,
Father,
that, you want me to start?
Every year.
You want
Every year,
you want me to
Takur.
start?
Takur first thing.
No, with the
first
salary.
thing.
Let's be quiet. Let me answer Takur.
Talk to
Listen,
Takur for me.
So,
Takur, you have your
you know,
attention.
it's easy for persons to come online and to make these comments, but when it is time for them to stand their ground and have a structured debate on this, they back down tremendously, because we're talking about the increase in prices. We're here, we're putting the conversation forward, and we're saying persons would have been better able to handle these increases had they gotten higher salaries. And there you have someone asking, what did the APNU AFC ever do? The APNU went into office, and by the time they left office, right, one term, they doubled the minimum wage of persons, that is something that they need to know, right? So I don't know if Thakur, I don't know if he is in support of the fact that the minimum wage earners and public servants overall did not receive a salary increase for an entire year. It was three budgets after that they got that 7% across the board, three budgets after,
Yeah,
and they did not even have the
yeah.
retro tax free,
And
right?
mind
So I don't know
you,
if Thakur is in support of such policies. Well, so we need to see where he is gearing his argument from what level.
Rita, and you can give some guidance here because with that 7% that was across the board, ministers got an increase and would have been 7% of their current salary.
Well,
So the president got an increase of 7% on his 2 million that he earned, and
but this
seven
is the
percent of two
same.
million and 7% on 70,000
Well,
is different.
this comes from the same set of people. What was rocking hell when there was an increase in the MPs' salaries is said that it should never be. But when they got into office, instead of pulling it back, what they did was add on more to that, right? So no one is talking about that altogether. So Thakur is a little off base with
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
comment there, but he probably have his bread well
Yeah,
buttered.
but
So
what I wanted to say, really and truly, is Takur, welcome out from under the rock that you've been under. I'm happy you've now come and you're seeing some sunlight. Enjoy the breeze. But don't stay out too long. Bread and wheat crisis coming.
mm, 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 mm. My
Well,
gosh.
listen to me. Winston Jordan had his little
Oh,
ways and so
and
on, but we were
Thakur,
never here.
since we are on Thakur, because I don't want to stray away from the discussion that we're having because he's commenting to the live that we have right now.
Yeah.
So let's not stray from the discussion. We're talking about inflation. We're talking about the exorbitant increases. I would just like Thakur to know. And he can go fact check this at
Yes.
will on all the sites that are available. That under the AP and UAFZ coalition, inflation was the most stable thing in this country. There was one particular year, I believe, I think it was 2019, well, correct me if I'm wrong, that the inflation rate was 0.5%. 0.5%
Yeah.
TACOR. That is what we're talking
Yeah, yeah,
about. So
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're talking about what the AP and UAFC administration did and didn't do, this is what it did. We are saying that the AP and UAFC did 0.5% inflation, and the PPP government that you're saying is doing such an awesome job did 5.6. We're saying that the AP and UAFC had 0.5%, and the PPP government have a 14% inflation in the price of goods and services. I mean, we can do this comparison and we can go
Teresa,
down
Teresa.
this road. I mean, usually not like
Some
this,
of the
but
comments are lit. Some of your comments and some of the other comments here are lit. Here is Rita saying, Rita says, Taco is just one of the mentally lazy brothers. Excuse me, Sharon. And Carl Fordyce said, well, I don't, well, I'm not going to go to that. Tony Hack, sorry, Carl. Tony Hack says Taco is another madman, just like his installed government. Quite Paris says Apnu AFC doubled the public service, the public services and minimum wage. Every single year they were in government.
Yep.
Every single year.
Yep.
Talk the things, Kurt Paris. Talk the things.
Yeah, but it's good that it's good that
We
Thakur
don't
actually
mind.
asks
Come
that
very often,
question
Taco.
because it gives an opportunity to
Yes,
remind
yeah.
persons
But hold
of
on.
what went
Taco is
on.
not alone. Taco is not alone. Enter Ashi. Ashi is it ASHI? Ashi Suklal says the people doing a great job. A great job flying out the country.
Yeah, well, it's good to have
Love me some
the
Ashi Suklal.
conversations.
Love me some Ashi Suklal.
Yes, yes. So it's good to have the conversations and have to, and I am always happy that persons come on and have their comments and engage in the conversation altogether because one thing is clear for me is that the people who are punishing they don't even have the time to actually be a part of these conversations because they're thinking where the next meal is coming from. It was only this morning that we were looking at that footage of that poor guy that the police was that stormed into his home at 1 a.m. in the
Harassing
morning,
him.
harassing him, putting a gun to his head. And one of the things that stood out is that here is someone that basically they were saying that we put you all in there. That's what they were saying. We put you all in there, and now that they're there, they're even their basic right to live in peace is being trampled on. They're living in extreme poverty. The $552.9 billion yet to reach their door. They're basically living in a shack, a man, his wife, and his children. But you see, Thakur think that's a great job. So Thakur believes that that is the way in which these people should
And
live.
and Ashi,
Yep.
Ashi Suklal, and you go until to the 5 point how much ever billion, 555 point how much of a billion that hasn't reached their door. A lot of people still holding the pink slips.
Well,
A lot of people still holding the pink slip.
that
Who's sharing the broadcast? Who's smashing the emoji button?
that corruption right there
Hmm.
is that corruption of the pink slip is something that is still ongoing. I was telling folks even
Corruptionism.
up to Sunday, persons were still telling me that when the monies were being shared out and they were asking the local representatives, the guy said he was asking the Tushao in the indigenous community, when are they going to get this money? And the Tushao say, this is a political thing. You got to go to the PPP representative for them to put your name down to get it. This is the way in which things are being done. But again, if Thakur believes that that is being done correctly, then his standard of measuring progress is severely different to everyone else.
Taco and Ashi.
Yep, yep, yep.
Taco and Ashi. Great to have you guys. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
Taco and Ashi.
excellent. I
Love to have you
encourage them
guys
to
around.
come back.
And that is the thing in this country. We don't have to all agree,
Nope.
right? We don't have to all agree.
But you got to bring it pound for pound. Like
Yes, you
this
got
is
to
your
bring the
point.
facts. You got to bring the
Well,
facts.
that's my thing, right? Because I just made I just made an inference, and I love to have these discussions with persons. Like Thakur made a comment there, but what I would love for Thakur to do is actually just bring one bit of evidence as to say, well, this is what they're
And
doing,
when we
as
have
opposed to what was done. Just don't make a blanket statement, because
correct is
I can
right.
bring the
Correct is
facts,
right.
I can bring the numbers. You bring it, and let's have this constructive debate back and forth. That would be great.
And when we have our open mics, Takur and Friday, call in. Let's
Yeah.
hear from you, Takur, right? Takur, call in, right? Call in, call in, and let's see what happens. Right? Takur says we are doing a great job in opposition. Well, people are doing a great job too. So there's hope. They were doing a great job in opposition too. So there is hope, Takur. You don't worry about that. Don't make the study, right? June Beresford, we're talking about pink slips, that people are still holding their pink slips. And June Beresford is telling us that some people never got their pink slip. Never even
Well,
got a pink slip.
if you were to recall, let's go to remind persons, even when it comes to the pink slips, there was the one instance, or more than one, if I'm to remember clearly, of the pink slips being found in dump in the garbage. If you were to recall that, the pink slips were found in the
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah,
So when
yeah.
persons were there, and a lot of people reported that some of them were asked to keep the pink slip, and some of them, the pink slips were filled out, and then it was collected from them and taken back by the representatives, the political representatives that were sharing it out in the community. So apparently the ones that were collected and they were not left with the persons, they took it after a while and just in one area they just went and dumped it altogether, pink slips that were filled out. So that is a level of representation and the level of care that has been brought from the PPP administration. They haven't looked at the mechanism. I keep asking the question, what is the distribution mechanism when it comes to these things? And one thing is clear is that they have none. And I keep making the point that they have none because they don't want one. They want the system to be exactly how it is because they don't want it to be tracked. And so a lot of persons, I mean, I believe that we need to get to a place where we can have constructive debates on these things, and pound for pound you wait out as to who is benefiting and who isn't benefiting. Because if I'm an advocate for any particular group, if I'm to be cast with any label, then I'll always be an advocate for poor people, because poor people need the support and they need their voices to be amplified through every avenue possible. And that is my aim, to make sure that poor people are given their voices are heard and they are given the support that they need. And I dare say that there's everyone, including Takur, that would have family that are poor and suffering in this country, because our country is so small and so interconnected that it is impossible for even if Takur bread well butter for it is impossible for him to have
Taco, your bread well butter.
it's impossible
And
for him to have
Ashi.
relatives that are not punishing, suffering, and studying where they're getting their
Yeah.
next meal
Yeah.
from. So
Yeah.
that is one thing I'm absolutely certain about.
Yeah.
And on that regard, I hope that we can have a system in place that it does not happen like that. I would love to have some good news to report, but there isn't any.
Yep. And folks, we are about to eclipse our time schedule for our podcast, and we want to ask you guys again. Ensure you share the podcast before you go. Taco, give us a share now.
Well, he did say he's gonna
Ashley, give us a
call.
share.
He did say he's gonna call in,
Yeah.
which I do listen. All jokes, no joke here. All seriousness, I do think that persons, especially when you have such strong, stringent views, we welcome the engagement for
Yes,
you
we
to
do.
call
We do
in and
tacos.
actually let
We do.
your side be
And
heard.
Ashley,
But I
we
do
do.
caution that when you are making a point, no good debate goes without solid evidence. So if you want to make statements, you need to bring in these facts to supporting facts, the
Yes, do that
evidence,
for us.
right? So
Come true.
definitely welcome that a bit of communication in the future.
Come true. Come true. Come true.
Yep.
Come true. Right, folks. That being said, that's our program for today. We cannot do these programs without you folks. Things tight, but we want to keep on keeping on your behalf, and we encourage you guys to find a way to support our program. It goes a long way, guys, to offset our responsibilities at this end. And we have several platforms, as should know. We invite you to use them. Several platforms available, whether it is the Cash App, it's a dollar sign in the ring 592. That's our Cash App handle, the dollar sign in the ring 592. Whether it's the PayPal or Zelle, one email address, PayPal or Zelle, one email address, and that is uh, in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592 at gmail.com. For both PayPal and Zelle, we're available at MMG2. That's the local Cash App, as we say, MMG 6276963 is our number there, 6276963. And we're available via Western Union, MoneyGram. You need any more guidance on how you can partner with us via these platforms, you can WhatsApp us at that same MMG number. WhatsApp us at that same MMG number, 6276963. Guys, we want to thank each and every one of you spending this time here with us. Cecile Ogle and Beatrice Helby, Carlotta Reynolds, and Patricia Kissoon. Good to see you, lovely folks. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glenn Sis, Mingo Byrne, Angela Jordan. Good to see you. Patricia Kissoon, and all you other lovely folks. That's our time. We're going to be back in the ring. Tony Hack, back in the ring at 8 this evening, folks. We're ready to fight it out. Good to have you guys on the podcast. That's our time today, folks. Ingrid King, stay safe. Carlotta Reynolds, Tasha Sillett, stay safe out there, guys. We see you guys back in a couple of hours. Good afternoon to Ashi and Chakur. Stay
Yeah,
safe out there, guys. Stay
definitely.
safe out there. That's our time. Stay safe.
Have a good afternoon, guys. See you back at 8 p.m. I'll be in the comment section.
In that show.
In that
In that
show.
show. The common show. Thanks, folks. Stay safe. Stay safe.